They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but that must mean I got 1,000,000 words here in front of me right now. I want to talk about one particular tape today. This is one of the Artimus Pyle albums that I'm credited on. I took that photograph right there and some of these others, as you can see. I am credited on the album right there. The Artimus Pyle Live from Planet Earth album. I want to get into a little bit of this one as well, but first, this picture here was taken at Altamont Springs, October 17th, 1977. Some of the Lynyrd Skynyrd band members are just coming out from the back here, right back here. They were doing a radio interview, and this is MCA photographer right there. Let's find something to point with. We'll just use a screwdriver. This is Charles Odom. He was hired by MCA Records to do professional photography of the Lynyrd Skynyrd band at the album signing autograph session for Street Survivors album at the Altamont Springs Mall. This is 3 days before the plane crash, but this is professional photographer Charles Odom. And of course, there's Leon Wilkeson and Artimus are obviously the first two band members to come out from the back here. Ronnie was back there doing a radio interview, and maybe some other band members were as well. The limousines were out back there. This is in the parking lot right outside the Altamont Mall. And anyways, Charles was hired to do photography. So here's one photo, and here's another photo. This one shows Charles a little bit better. You can see his face this time. Artimus is shaking hands with people. Leon's there. But it's a good shot of Charles Odom. Now, I got to know Charles, and I took him to visit Artimus one day to a house in Crescent Beach, Florida. And this is some photography that Charles did of me and Artimus at his house there in Crescent Beach, Florida. I'm wearing Artimus's tribute tour vest, custom vest. It's Artimus peeking over my shoulder there. And this is Charles in the living room of Artimus's house. And you can see the intracoastal waterways back there where me and Artimus used to go and watch the dolphins and the boats pass by and maybe smoke something. And we were just enjoying the day before a show later that night where I had come up and worked on the sound system. And Charles went with me and took these photographs. And there's me and Artimus. There's me and then Artimus right there. And this is on the hammock out behind Artimus's house. Artimus and I at a show somewhere. Artimus in the Carolinas with one of his babies. Skynyrd band. Artimus and Custer. APP band. This is on the road with the Artimus Pyle band. Obviously here is Mike Estes on the left. Tim Lindsay, who's now in Molly Hatchet. Myself, Artimus, and Greg Verrill. This is one of my favorite Artimus Pyle bands. On this particular night, not only was I lugging equipment, but I was also doing video and photography. So I'm sitting on an unreleased complete concert video of this band right here from the barn in Sanford, Florida. So that's what I was doing there that night, worried about the place burning down because it's an old wooden barn. But what I wanted to talk about on this video today is a tape. One day, I drive over to Artimus's house, and as I drive up, this is what I see. This is his front patio of Crescent Beach. As I'm sitting there in my car, I see this tape sitting here, out in the rain, out in the weather, just sitting out there as decorations on Artimus Pyle's front patio. So before I go knock on the door, I took this picture of it. And you can see that it's professional Ampex multi-track tape. There's no writing on it to tell you what is on this tape. So I'm kind of pissed off, to be honest with you, to see that tapes like this are treated with this kind of disregard, in my opinion, because, you know, when it gets rained on, I mean, you're just ruining the tape. Whatever's on there is going to be lost. And that's what this video is about a lost album. An album that we really should be enjoying, but is now lost for all time. I tried to save this tape. I asked Artimus if I could have it. He said sure. I took it back to my house and I kept it for maybe a year or so. And then Artimus was going to put this album together. And a man named Larry Goad was the engineer behind this album, Artimus Venomous. And so I talked to Artimus and I talked to Larry Goad. And I wound up giving this tape to Larry Goad. And he said he was going to try to recover whatever was on it. And, you know, he said to me later on that he was not able to recover the audio that was on this tape. And it was a complete album of music that is gone forever. Now, he did say that he was able to sample the bass and maybe use some samples of this particular tape on this album. But that's about all we will ever hear or get of what is ever on this tape. Now, I believe Larry Goad may still have this tape today. I don't know. But it'd be really cool if this tape could be recovered and the lost Artimus Pyle album recovered. But what is on this tape? Well, let me show you. This is one of my framed pieces, and you can see it says Artimus Pyle Band. And right there it says Alan Woody. And there's Alan Woody with some of his custom-made guitars. But this is the band that is on that tape. Now there's a couple of videos on YouTube right now. And here's the band. It is Artimus Pyle, Alan Woody, and Sammy Stafford. Now what I was told of Sammy Stafford was that he was a guitar tech in Nashville. And he's kind of a really old guy. I don't even know if he's still alive, but he was a really old guy. And he was kind of like a Stevie Ray Vaughan player, you know, blues rock guitar player, singer, blues rock player. So basically that's what you would have on this lost tape right here. The lost album is going to be these three guys right here. And I think it was recorded in Nashville. So just a little bit of Skynyrd trivia here and the lost Artimus Pyle Band album. And if anybody knows Larry Goad, ask him where this tape is and ask him if it can be recovered, because I would surely like to hear this album. That is Skinformation. Later.